Segment 3, Northtown Neighborhood News Magazine, a production of Sonny Hirsch and myself. We're real big on CAPS. In the Chicago Police Department, they might be undermanned, but they've been showing some nice efforts, so thank you very much. We appreciate that. Jewish Chicago, of course, is going to be out before the early voting starts in the primary election. It'll be free all over the place, so feel free to pick it up. It is a pleasure to introduce you to somebody actually I've never met before today. And as is my custom for those of you who know, I really prefer in general not to find out too much about the candidate because I would like to learn on the air as you learn on the air. And it is a pleasure to introduce you to Judge Alfred Swanson. How are you?
I'm fine, Avi. It's a pleasure to be here.
First of all, my pleasure. Thank you so much. And why don't you tell us a little bit about your background?
Oh, where do you want me to start? Law is a second career for me, for starters. My first career, went my way through high school and college at the University of Illinois on the radio, in the radio business. I'm a broadcast journalism and political science major from the University of Illinois.
Nice.
I worked downstate for a year, came up to Chicago, was a writer and reporter at WBBM radio for not quite a year and a half, and then for 10 years was a reporter at WMAQ, where we were the Midwest Bureau for NBC Radio News.
Wow.
I went to law school nights while I was working for NBC, and my first job as a lawyer was with the Illinois Attorney General's office in the Consumer Fraud Division and then in the Charitable Trust Divisions. And then I went into private practice with various firms doing all kinds of civil litigation, most of it injury defense. Practiced law for 28 years before I got a call in October of last year, in 2010, from the Supreme Court asking they were saying they were thinking about appointing me to the Circuit Court to a vacancy. And so now I'm on my third career, I guess.
Very good. And how are you finding being a judge?
I love it. Was started on the bench in October of 2010, about the middle or end of November, just before Thanksgiving. I got home and my wife said, "You know, this is the first time in years you've come home from work smiling," which I think really captures it. And I get off the train downtown in the morning and I can't get to the Daily Center fast enough to start work.
Wow. So definitely you like your work.
Oh, absolutely, I like my work.
So what court are you in now?
I am in the Chancery Division now, in the Mortgage Foreclosure Mechanics Lien section, which, as you might well imagine, is a pretty busy place.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's a lot of places. There are places within a block of this house that are in the process right now.
Well, and it doesn't matter where you are in Cook County. Every neighborhood, affluent, not so affluent, has foreclosures. In city and in suburbs as well. And I don't think there's really an exception because it just cuts over all segments of society.
Do you hear a lot of is this a kind of court where you hear a lot of cases in a given day? Or?
Oh yeah, we hear both residential and commercial foreclosures. And my contested motion call is in the morning, and I'll typically have 30 motions people could set up there, plus whatever matters I continue. So on that call in the morning, I'll have between 35 and 45 cases. On the default call in the afternoon, I could have up to 45 or 50 matters.
Wow. That's wow.
and every month, the caseload inventory on the call increases just a little bit because filings are still outpacing our dispositions.
And the way the government's operating on certain things have been delayed and are coming due now. So yeah, unfortunately, well, I'm just really happy I'm not looking to sell my house at all right now.
Well, that's probably a good thing. But you know, the Circuit Court has a number of programs in place to help homeowners. There's a mediation program, and I don't know statistics for this year, but for 2010, of those homeowners who qualified for the foreclosure mediation program of the Circuit Court, 1 in 3 stayed in their homes. That's a pretty good batting average. As I told the coordinator, a .333 batting average in Major League Baseball can make somebody eligible for the Hall of Fame.
Oh, actually, we'll definitely guarantee you a space in the Hall of Fame.
So the program works, and for somebody who qualifies for the mediation program, the foreclosure process comes to a halt until the mediation program either works or doesn't work. So they don't have to fight two battles at the same time.
Yeah, now you've got me thinking about who the last player to hit 333 was for a career, and maybe Rod Carew.
I
Might be Stan Musial or Ted Williams. I was a baseball
Ted Williams was better
stat-wise.
than that because he hit over 400 that one season.
Right, you're right. He actually hit a lifetime batting average of, I want to say 342, but it might have been 344. And Musial was around 337. I was definitely the statistics nerd for baseball when I was in school. And anyway, we should talk about the judge stuff, though. So, how are you finding now? This is the first time you're running for election.
No, it is not the first time I've run for
sorry
election.
about that.
It is the first time I've run countywide for election.
Ah,
I ran several years ago in my sub-circuit, unsuccessfully, obviously. In the suburb where I live, I was appointed and elected twice to the village board.
ah.
So I have a good understanding of municipal law and municipal issues from 9.5 years on the village board. After that ended, I was the hearing officer for the village's administrative adjudication program for about 2 years,
Yeah.
which was a great learning experience in how to manage what was really a quasi-court call, but in how to manage a court call, how to listen to people and listen to both sides and make a decision and keep things moving, which was a big benefit to me when I got on the bench and was assigned to traffic court.
Very good. Yeah, traffic court. That I know is where most people wind up starting. And
All judges in Cook County start in traffic court.
how did you find it?
I enjoyed it. I did not have a criminal law background when I was practicing, so I had to learn criminal procedure. But the nice thing about the way Judge Evans has the circuit court set up, when you go to a new assignment, the first thing you do is you sit at a judge's elbow and observe him for a couple of days or so. And then he sits or she sits and observes you as you handle the call for a learning experience for a week or a little bit more before you're put on the call entirely on your own, which is very good training process because in traffic court, first of all, and then in January of this year, I was in forcible entry and detainer, the eviction court. And then I was on the 11th floor in the non-jury contract tort call, and a couple of other assignments in the 1st Municipal District before in early March I got moved up to Chancery. And there again, in the foreclosure call, it was a week of this training and monitoring, and that's the way Judge Evans tries to do things. And it's a great way to learn so that you don't feel too much like a fish out of water when you get into an area of a call that you didn't do in practice.
No, it sounds really good. I mean, the truth is the only time I've ever seen Evans was basically on a video when I was up for a jury.
Yes, his introduction video to jury service.
Right. And that was actually pretty cool. So I imagine at this point in time, you're, you can't really officially campaign like a politician and get on a soapbox. I mean, there's a lot of laws and restrictions. But are you going to events all over the county? Or?
I'm going to events all over the county. My committee is sponsoring some on my behalf, but I have been going to events all around the county since last spring. By rule, we could not start campaigning until just under a year before the primary election, which is March 20th. So we couldn't start before March 21st of this year.
Oh, interesting. That's something I didn't know. So I'm always trying to learn. That's one of the good things about
We all
the show.
have to learn all the time. We go stale if we don't try to learn something every day.
Yeah, I agree, because there's no such thing as staying stagnant. You're either up or you're down. And going up is the right way to go. And the clock's hands are getting close. So why don't you give us your contact information?
My contact information is the email or the website is electjudgeswanson.com.
electjudgeswanson.com. And I want to wish you a lot of luck. I want to thank Sonny Hirsch, my entire technical crew. I want to thank all of you for joining us, and good luck in the election. And it's been a pleasure meeting you.
Nice meeting you too, Avi. Thank you for the invite.
My pleasure. Bye-bye.